delve into her journey and we get insights for aspirants. Malika, my first question, firstly, thank you for being here. And my first
Thank
question to you, why choose law in the first place, given the amount of options that you have and if you want to talk and shed light about it, then we'll probably go a little bit deeper
So
into your journey.
I think when I decided that I want to do law very early in my life, I think I was still in school.
Right.
And while I was still in school, I was in DPS Mathura Road earlier, so they provide a lot of options to their students. So what I was like, I remember I was doing everything at one point of time. So if there was an entrepreneurship competition, I was there. I was a member of the DPR debating society, and that really angled my thoughts about doing law. But I'll tell you the first and foremost reason why I wanted to do law. Like leave the aspect that I was already a debater and I was all there in the extracurricular activities. I still remember during that times Wi-Fi was a very new thing, new concept. Like when
Okay.
I think I was back in 9th, 10th grade, it was not internet was not that readily available. And I still remember I had a maths exam and I was really, really bad. And I was not like I absolutely managed just to pass. So that's, I think every parent comes and tells you what you're gonna do. Have you decided you're not concentrating on your studies? And at that point of time, I went to my computer, that whole PC system, that time it used to be, and I searched careers without maths. And the first option was law. So that was, this is just for humor, like, but it just spiked my interest. Okay, there is this career I can do. And over there, when you clicked on lawyer, when you clicked on law, they were like, this career has these personality traits. So first, if you are outspoken, I was like, oh, I'm a debater. Check. Essay. There's an art of storytelling in law. And I
Right.
was a reader. I still read a lot.
Okay.
So I'm okay, this also check. So I was like, okay, now we will do law. The very next day, I went to my parents and I said, listen, I'm going to become a lawyer. And they looked at me with certain pride. And I was like, okay, this also check. So now, now,
Okay.
now we are going to do law.
Okay.
So this is what I decided कि चलो अब तो law ही करेंगे. And later then, of course, I'm talking about, I think, 8th, 9th grade. Things changed after that. I started to consider a lot other diverse career options that were available. But
Okay.
I think by the time I was graduating, I still remember I did this one debate competition, which was talking about a change in law and some uniform civil code, and I didn't even know what it is. So when I started researching about it, I realized, okay, it's going to be law. And then secondly, I think back then and even still now, I still have this issue, I would call it, that I want to be the person doing everything possible. So
Okay.
I wanted to be a part of everything, every
Okay.
competition, even if my two friends are going out somewhere else, I had to be there, even if I had no use of going. So I realized that for me, a career option that is all pervasive, that
Oh,
is omnipresent, I would rather call
true.
it. It's there everywhere, has to be law.
Okay.
So in life or in this, wherever you go, you see if there is a dispute, let's say a matrimonial dispute, or there
Right.
is a acquisition taking place, or let's say something as minimal as, if there is construction taking place and something happens.
True.
So in life and now, on a daily basis, a normal citizen also does come in connect with law.
Right. 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 No, that's
So
true.
this reason of me wanting to be present everywhere and wanting to be doing everything actually made me decide that I want to do law.
Absolutely. No, Malika, and thank you so much for sharing that. But the idea being, that you wanted to be omnipresent, that is one thing. And that sort of takes me to my next question. Also, in the fact that it is very, very keen, it is very good, in fact, as a student to be a part of all these events.
Yes.
Someone who's going and growing through the process can clearly take notes. It's very important what you were talking about, even though, in a sort of a humorous manner. The idea is that you want to identify your skills, you want to identify your strengths, and that is something that is very important. All jokes apart, the reality is that you want to sort of relate it to the career that you want to go in, because making a career choice is it's not a joke. Like you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. it's as good as your marriage decision, if you know, unless you decide to part ways, right? So
Yeah.
essentially you want to sort of spend time on this and make the right choice. So but even people, I think a lot of people go for counseling and all that also these days, that is
Yes,
available.
career counseling. It's
Yeah,
quite good.
it sort of helps you identify the career choices. But Malika, you wanted to do such a diverse set of things, and we'll come to your journey as a research clerk at the High Court of Delhi. But before that, let's just talk about then why exactly did you end up choosing? Given that you talked about matrimonial disputes, you
Mhm.
talked about if something happens in construction. Now you are dealing in an area, especially in Deloitte. Something which is very similar to white collar crime, dealing
Yes,
with
it is.
fraud
It is white
investigations.
collar
It
crime.
is white collar
Yes,
crime, right?
yes,
So how exactly do you think, like, why exactly firstly do you went on to become so specific? A girl who wanted to do so many things is now finally chosen a path which is
yes. So I tell you, I was one of the COVID batch. So like primarily all the internships, and I think every law student structures their internships and interests as per the year they are in.
right,
So by the time I was in my I think third or fourth year, I did a 5-year program. By the time I was in my fourth year, I decided, okay, now is the time when I will, do law firm internships, specifically because they also require that you should be at least in your fourth year or fifth year
right, true,
provide you an internship, correct? So I pictured it out this way that let's try everything. So over there, while I was in my law school journey, I have also tried everything. So I think the first year I interned with an NGO, second I went with like a litigator like you do.
right,
Third year I was going to district courts. By the fourth year, had already done my judicial internship. And then I was like, okay, what is left right now is a very good law firm that I should have exposure in. So things changed. COVID took place, and a lot of internships were virtual. So
right,
virtually, at least at that point of time, when people were still trying to get a hang of how the whole landscape is working, virtual internships were a little restrictive. So I understood that okay, my years have not been as planned as I wanted it to be planned. So in order to get a clear insight of everything which is going on, I decided, and I was really lucky to get a judicial clerkship. So let me just break your questions in 2 parts. So firstly, I being a judicial law clerk, anyone who's a judicial law clerk, the experience and exposure you get is something I don't think you can get anywhere. When you entered a judge's or lordship's office or his room, it's like you're entering with a sense of public service. You're not entering with a sense of, whatever you were thinking in the last 4 years of your law journey. And when you go there, you see a very different side of law altogether. The hours they work, the sense of, at least where I was working with, I think Justice Gazeri is one of the greatest mentors to have for any of his law researchers. The insight to life was more than just correcting orders or let's say researching. So when I entered there, I realized one thing I saw. Oh, firstly, it's going to take a lot of hard work. Secondly, I saw that when I was sitting in the court, I used to see people coming in and go every day. Like there were lawyers who were seniors, the freshers were countless. And I realized that, okay, I'll have to pick up a niche. In order for me to see where I want to see myself in 10 years, I have to pick up a niche. So I kept on dwelling on that part. Okay, what's the niche? What's the niche? What's the niche? And then exactly what you asked me, that a girl who wanted to do something so diverse, what happened? I realized that I just don't, at least in the beginning stages of my career, I don't want to be just associated as a lawyer or an advocate. I want to do more. I want to understand the nuances of business. How is it taking place? And I realized that I then is the time I started evaluating my options. So I realized that okay, I want to do more than just being a
right,
lawyer. I want to, at least in the beginning, of my professional years, I want to develop a skill set that is diverse. And that's when I decided that I will join a big four, because it's a big four is a one shop stop for all your business needs.
Right.
So that's when I decided, okay, let's shift aside and let's go and try something new, try something completely out of the box that probably not a lot of people have done.
Absolutely. No, and thank you for even giving a shout out to Justice Waziri. I think if we're on the same page, you're talking about one of the great judges of the country,
Yes,
who's
yes,
currently retired, and I think he still started up practicing as an advocate.
yes, yes.
We had the pleasure of meeting him at the Vidhi Utsav, I think, in 2024. A fantastic man, fantastic individual. His stories are so they're so fascinating, and there's a lot to share, obviously, with the wealth
Yes.
of expertise and experience. So that's there. And now that you've mentioned Deloitte, I would want to ask something related to someone who's even aspiring to be in
Yeah.
the Big Four.
Nishan, just give me a minute. I don't know
Yeah.
why I cannot see you at all. Like my screen is blank.
All right, all right.
Wait,
We'll
let me
just
just join in
pause for a
again.
second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are back, and these disruptions will keep on happening. If we want, we'll edit it out. Let's see. I mean, it's the unfiltered edition. But Malika, we were being very realistic about the idea of joining Deloitte, the Big Four. Firstly, congratulations. Take me
Thank
through the screening process. Take me through the entire idea of how does this application happen, and maybe after that we can also talk about your clerkship a little bit, because
yeah.
someone who's not gone into that side of the areas, given that a lot of people, especially in law schools, have become very corporate law firms oriented. That would also be, I think, a good couple of insights that you could share there.
Mhm.
But take us to how this entire Deloitte thing happens, and how did you get the position?
Yes, let me just tell you how does the screening process work
Right, right.
for all over all the big fours. So what I did was as a like law student was that I signed up to a lot of let's say openings. So you have to sign in. Every big four has a application page where you sign in, you see the available jobs and you apply. All right, this is what usually happens generally. And then when your CV is shortlisted by the HR, there's probably an HR round. She talks to you like, they talk and they say what you want, gets your options out there in the open. Then later, I think there's a manager round, and then it's a partner round. So for
Okay.
me, yes, there are 3, 4 rounds, and some of the big fours I know that my some of my colleagues have joined in. They also do take an application test in the beginning.
Which
So
is
they provide you some sort of, let's say, some task to do.
okay.
So
Okay.
that
Fair
basically
enough.
becomes your,
Yeah.
in a way, a
Right.
thing
Right.
that
Right.
you have to clear it to
Yeah.
get it. Your
Yeah.
first stage
Okay.
screening, first
So
level
it
screening.
should align with what you are trying to do at the firm, and they'll give you a
Yeah, yes,
test
something
related. Okay.
related to
Fair
that.
enough.
And I think for freshers, it's mostly an aptitude check.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
they don't
Yeah. Yeah.
expect you to know everything, because
Everything. True.
there's no way one person can know within,
Can
I
know.
think, the
Yeah.
beginning of their careers.
Yeah.
So it's just an aptitude test.
Right.
Now, how it happened, there's another.
It to some task. What does the HR manager or partner have to ask that sort of differs? And then why do you think they have the 3 rounds?
I think the first round is a very, I'll tell you why. What's happening nowadays that I also see is a lot of people, at least on my LinkedIn, they just blindly see you are at Deloitte and they just tell you, like, please refer me, ma'am. This is not how it works. You need to know which, they don't even know which department am I working in. Because for the
Right.
longest time, I didn't put my department. And they were like,
Right.
just refer me in Deloitte. But Deloitte is huge.
Huge.
We have everything from
Yeah.
compliance to mergers and acquisitions to tax
Right.
to
Right.
the investigations I'm doing. There are
Yeah.
so many departments, and every
Right.
department has around, I don't know, probably more than 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
So it's, you can't just go or like a headless chicken running, just get me into Deloitte. That cannot be your criteria.
Right.
So
Right.
what people do is, because of the easy apply thing on LinkedIn, they keep on applying to posts without knowing where they're applying to.
For
So the
true.
HR, when HR comes in, their job is to explain, okay, this is the expertise which is matching your CV. This is what you've applied for. Are you
Right.
aware?
Yeah.
And basis that, they can actually figure out, okay, this person might have done some kind of research of what they're applying to. Why are they
Fair enough.
applying to?
Fair enough.
So this is a
Yeah.
very preliminary check that, okay, you know what you are doing. Because
Right.
majority of us don't.
True.
A majority of people I have seen, some of them are really, really, really well researched. Some
Yeah.
of them just really don't know. They're just coming for the brand name. So
Yeah.
this helps in screening out that process.
Yeah.
And then comes your manager round. So what happened for me, I can tell you. So my round was taken by a lawyer herself, and
Okay.
she's a very well accomplished lawyer. So she
Right.
asked me all sort of questions relating what it will help me in my um, area here. So over here, I think she asked me everything about, firstly, my since I was coming with some sort of experience, what I did in my judicial clerkship,
True.
how am I going to add
Yeah, to
um,
the
to
firms.
the thing is, because in Deloitte, in my field, and everywhere, in every big four, we don't have just lawyers, or we just don't have just CAs. We have a
Yeah.
diverse skill set of people.
Self-care of people.
So
Absolutely.
currently in my team, we have an MBA, we
Yeah.
have a CA, we have a lawyer,
Right.
and we also have like other people with all other sort of education qualifications. So the manager process is first to check your aptitude,
Right.
because currently how much can you take and how much of presence of mind you have. I was also asked about because my interview was taken by a lawyer, so I was asked everything about the evidence act, which might help us into a investigation. So it depends on both, and mostly Deloitte does ask you a lot of case study questions, so
Okay.
it's not a question you can prepare for. It's
Okay.
actually to check your presence of mind and what are
Right.
you going to do in a scenario what is given to you. I think
Right.
most of the consulting firms that I am
Yeah.
seeing now,
Yeah.
not only the big four, but let's say McKinsey, Boston, BCG, everyone, they do provide a lot of case study basis
True.
of evaluation, because then it makes sure the person is not coming with ready-made answers.
Absolutely no. And I think
Yeah,
giving the whole point of hypotheticals and application based is
yeah,
to apply your knowledge.
yeah,
If someone asks me what is section 8 of this act, either if I know, it's okay. If I don't know, I'll just Google it up and I can
yeah,
say that section. But unless I have the understanding of the section, me even Googling it up won't
yeah,
sort
it
of
doesn't.
matter. So,
Yes.
the process makes a lot of sense. But yeah,
Yeah.
please go on as to how
Yes.
this
So
proceeds. Yeah.
after you clear your first HR and your
Yeah.
manager
Manager
or
round.
senior manager round,
Right.
then you straight away go to your partner.
Right.
So at least in my case, I think with my partner, he was very kind. Because I was also somewhat a fresher. I had, I think, 8 months experience before that.
Okay.
So he actually showed me a path. Okay, okay, Malika, the conventional two sides for a lawyer is either you go litigate,
Yeah.
you join a senior office, or you
Right.
go to a law firm, or third, you go to in-house.
Right.
Now, fourth, big four is the fourth thing that not a lot of people know about. Even I
Yeah.
didn't know about it.
Right. Right.
So I think even in my manager round, but in my partner round, I really had this discussion, okay, that I am voluntarily coming to do something which is not only law,
Right.
probably more than that.
True.
It uses, I will be, I asked to, expected of to, build up diverse skill sets. And that is something like I am entering a domain which is not primarily for lawyers, but a mixture for everyone.
True.
So taking that step knowingly is your partner, where he showed me a vision and a roadmap. Okay,
Right.
this is the current
Right.
state, this is what we are going, this is where
Yeah.
you will support us.
Yeah.
And mostly again to analyze your presence, how you're conducting yourself.
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
Mostly that.
So the
But
partner. Yeah.
the
Yeah, sorry.
partner provides you technically your overall roadmap
Right.
when you
Right.
come, because he's in a leadership position.
Right.
So not only to evaluate you, or maybe it was just for the partner I was with.
True.
So yes, his job, like he actually told me how I can contribute and how I am special in a way. Maybe it's a way of evaluating also, now that I can think about it, to see
Yeah.
how the other person is reacting to,
Right.
अच्छा ज़्यादा लोगों
Absolutely.
का काम नहीं होगा इधर. But if the person is sure what they're getting into, now that I think about it, but yeah, there are ways to tell you, okay, how your career is going to scale out if you join.
I hope the amount of conversation that we've had about Deloitte and the
Yeah.
way you've spoken so positively about it, they promote you soon. But like we'll
Not soon. No, not soon. Actually, there's
yeah,
a 2 year cycle for every
yeah,
position. That's what I have seen, and it's not
yeah, right,
written
right,
anywhere. It's just that I
right,
have seen here that okay, 2 years and they promote you. Probably do very good work.
yeah,
But the thing is, the effort you put in is always acknowledged.
acknowledged,
Like,
yeah,
I think when I came here, there's an award, the awards they give you for your
Okay.
contributions. So I think within 4 months of me joining the firm, I was given Live the Dot award. And
Okay.
then recently, right now, I was given the Star of the Quarter award.
Oh, nice.
So they acknowledge, no matter, like, if you put in effort, they acknowledge your efforts will be acknowledged. This is what,
True.
at least for me, it has happened
Okay.
this way.
No,
Yeah.
no, and I mean, definitely, why not? I think that's
Yeah.
the entire process also. How, why else would someone, be when you are willing to put that much work, in
Yeah.
return. And now let's also switch to Hindi in between, because मेरी
Huh.
थोड़ी viewership वैसे भी है. I've been talking in English for a while. We have had this entire conversation in English. I keep forgetting that. But in general also, अगर हम बात करते हैं इन चीजों के
Hmm.
बारे में, एक बहुत ही important part होता है इंसेंटिव की तरह, है ना? कि आप कोई
Yeah.
काम कर रहे हो तो अच्छा लगता है कि अगर कोई आपको
Mhm.
रिकॉग्नाइज करे. जैसे कि कोई आपको टॉक शो पे बुलाए, अगर आप इतनी इतनी मेहनत कर रहे हो, तो इट्स फेयर इनफ. बट नो, आई वाज इट्स जस्ट अ सेइंग, इट्स जस्ट अ वे ऑफ सेइंग दैट दे प्रमोट यू. सो ऑब्वियसली आई थिंक एवरीबॉडी
Yeah.
हैज टू गो थ्रू देयर ड्यू कोर्स. Either
Yeah.
if you are at a law firm or a big four, there is time in things. वरना तो दो दिन में, 3 दिन में everybody would have become something or the other.
Yes.
But
Correct.
you have to go through the grind. That is the
Yeah.
entire sort of part and parcel of the process. But let's move from Deloitte and get into the first part that we've been planning to talk about. And also, I also want to figure out, given that you firstly, in your entire, you keep saying the fact that you were in the COVID batch. So I would also want to know the year you graduated in. But apart from the fact, you've delved into various areas through your internships, right?
Yes. Yes,
Then why
I did.
this idea of going to the high court, or let's say the Supreme Court? You could have started with litigation, you could have started with a
Yes.
firm, but then you
Yes.
decided to go and do this clerkship. So why exactly this clerkship?
So I'll
um,
tell you, litigation aspect of what I wanted to do was covered through over and out
yeah,
throughout my 5 years. Maybe
right,
it's not until you graduate that you can actually go and appear in front of the bench. That is something I've really missed out on. That I
right,
really feel time and now
right,
that I've never gone and go down to the judge and presented my case. That is something I feel. But however, at that point of time, I was even now I am this person who thinks, okay, next 6 months, how am I developing a skill set?
okay,
What I am going to do, what the other person is not doing.
right,
So over then, for me, litigation was already done. Like I had already been through the process and I knew what I was getting into.
right,
Judicial clerkship, on the other hand, is something which is like if you get a call from let's say an office of a judge or a chamber of a judge, there is no way a person can say no to it. I
right,
mean, people dream about it. Every law student dreams about being on the other side of the bench.
right,
At least in the beginning you think you will be the judge, but later it's when you get it so early in life, there is no way I think anyone, and I recommend everyone, if life is giving you a chance to actually go and work as a judicial law researcher, please go ahead. It's going to be life changing. People nowadays, I see they do it for a fancy letter of recommendation, but I think you just learn so much more than that. At least with the bench I was at, with Justice Vaziri, he's also known as the Green Judge.
yeah, yeah, for
And
pockets that he has
and I
established.
did not know much. Like, when you are in law school and even as, an intern, you are just researching, researching, researching. At least
Yeah,
a lot of people only get this exposure.
right, true,
But once you enter, a judge's chamber and you see the impact that they are creating. I remember, I think his farewell was last year. He was
yeah,
retiring,
yeah,
and I still remember I took an off and I went there. I want to see how it's taking place, and there were people who were coming with banners, and there were people appreciating his efforts. And at that point of time, I realized that no matter where I go from now, my starting was this. My starting was with a mentor, a person who has just created so much of good impact for everyone, every
right,
citizen, I feel.
right,
So, this is a feeling that I carry everywhere. This is a feeling of pride that
right,
I don't think you can put in papers, and you can't even put numbers to this.
right.
So, if someone tells me, Malika, will you go through this all over again? I would.
Okay.
And for every lawyer, I feel litigation in a way, or getting into a court, knowing the functioning of a court is your utmost foundation.
Right.
Like, okay, law firm, matlab, I don't know, I just interned there, I haven't worked, so I don't have
Hmm.
much of the
Okay.
areas. But
Okay.
now that I speak to people, I see, especially the ones who are in M&A, general corp, it's good for people who have decided early, but I did. So
Right.
for me to enter and work and stay and stay in the Delhi High Court and spend my nights, evening, mornings there was the only good thing I can think of that time. I think there's no other thing would have groomed me in certain way. Like
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I was picking up a niche, and I knew for a matter of fact that I am saying bye bye to law, something I studied for the
Right.
longest period of time. The strength that I developed during my judicial clerkship of doing something new all the time. You don't know when will you create an impact, which matters.
Right.
So I think that is the thing which gave me the courage, because it is scary. It
It
is
is
scary from going, you know, when
from
you
going
are
to
you are a law researcher, there are a lot of opportunities which are open to you. And it is scary to take a step which is not conventional.
true.
And it was really scary for me in the beginning, because everyone was telling me, what are you doing? Even now people come and tell me that you could have gotten anywhere if tried. What is this thing that you want to do something not anyone else is? What if it backfires? And that's when I realized, if it backfires, it backfires. But this
Okay.
is something I really want to do right now. This is a
Right.
skill set I have to develop right now.
Right.
Later in life I can't be switching like this.
Absolutely. No,
So
in yeah,
yeah.
yeah, please.
So, a clerkship, it's not only about you will get very thorough with your research. Like
Right.
even now here, I don't think I do every possible research. And the moment in my beginning months when I was here at Deloitte, I remember my managers coming at me and telling me like, where do you get all of this research from? Because they are not used to this research.
Yeah, yeah.
And your research goes exceptionally well. You get to know so much about application of law that you've already only studied. You don't know how it applies and the impact the law creates. Like, I remember Justice Vaziri always used to tell everyone who's appearing also, that if you're a lawyer, you are a privileged class of you are in a privileged class of society. And this is something which is embedded in my head till now, even when I am working at a big four, when their lawyers are, not that much. But I know, okay, somehow I am better than everyone, because I have done
Absolutely.
law. I have seen the
Right.
impact it has created.
Right.
So, and for this experience, and I had already interned with him before when I was doing my clerkship. So I knew that if interning for 1 month would give me this sense of, emotion that I have not seen and groomed me so well, I don't know what will clerkship do for me. And everyone who was working with me with other benches as well, not only with Justice Vaziri. I think at one point of time, all my core group was doing clerkship together in the High Court. And I just, now that I see, we entered as fresh graduates. You don't, anyone who's fresh out of, law school or any college, don't know how to, there is a way to conduct yourself professionally, that people take you seriously and that you take yourself seriously.
Right.
And a clerkship, I feel, is a tapasya for a law student. If you
Okay.
go through it, you know you can do anything else.
All
And
right.
then if you take hard steps in life, it's not going to scare you.
Absolutely. No, Malika, and for a moment, I could see also that this entire experience, more than the fact that it is, might have done or not done anything else, but it has really moved you.
That's,
और वो मतलब कि दिख करके निखर करके आ रहा है जब भी आप
yeah.
बात करते हो क्लर्कशिप के बारे में देयर आर सो मेनी फैसेट्स जो आप पॉइंट आउट करना चाहते हो and
Mm.
you sort of seem to even get sort of I mean lost is the word in the sense that you talk so passionately about it
Yes.
and that's really good to see and one big statement that you made is that if I had to go back in time and do this all over again I would still choose टू डू दैट क्लर्कशिप ये बहुत ही एक यूनिक बात है because when people come on the show, they do talk a lot about, ki probably this decision, now when I think of it, was not taken in the best of the interest, and it happens to the best of us because you keep learning through your entire journey. But the fact that you're so adamant, इस आइडिया पे आप you have this focus कि हाँ मैंने ये जो करा, I'm very proud of it, I own it. And ऐसे बोलते हैं law is a noble profession. I think that
Yes.
entire process sort of gives you that feeling. And
Yeah.
you want to share something more about it, because I could see that. Do you want to? Yeah.
I think it's like I don't think I can put my all those learnings in, but if I am suppose like, if I want to recommend something, I it would be that before any this is what I did.
Mm.
So it before stepping out, probably in a if see if you have your mindset, there are some people who are very very passionate about M&A merger, what's that, I didn't even know this. I still now don't know all this. And there were
Yeah.
some friends of mine who were just so passionate and they got their PPOs also because of their passion. For
Right.
someone, I think majority who have not identified their passion. Because at that point of time also people used to tell me, Malika, your line will come to you. And at that point of I used to think, what are they saying? There is no line. I can't see it. Someone is probably raising it at the back because there is no line which is coming in front of me. So if you are not sure of it, if you have even the slightest doubt
Yeah.
that if you are,
Yeah.
doing something correct, and the thing is, clerkship sabko nahi milti hai. It's really tough. You need to
Right. Right.
work really hard for it. But
Yeah.
probably just being in court and observing everyone,
Yeah.
the leisure of sitting in court and observing any judge, any bench, any good matter will probably teach you way more than you are thinking. If you join somewhere else, they'll teach you locked up in an
Right.
office.
Right.
So even if I'm not saying do a clerkship, get into a clerkship, I was very lucky. I was probably blessed with great mentorship. Not everyone does.
True.
So anyone, any law student, I feel if you have some time in your hand, just go sit in the back seat of the court, just observe how people are coming in, going out. You will also know if you want to do this 10 years from now by
Right.
observing them so much.
Right.
So observe how everything is functioning, and little or little you will get to know a bench perspective on law. See,
Right.
a lawyer's perspective on law, you will be trained your entire life.
Yeah.
To get
True.
the bench's perspective is something which you can probably get to know
No,
by
no,
observing. Yes.
absolutely. It's one thing sitting with the players out there and playing in the field. It's another thing sitting with the umpires also, and getting to
Yeah.
know how they're making those
Yes.
decisions. No, but it definitely adds a lot of value to you as a person. Also, आपकी skill set तो बढ़ती ही है.
Oh,
But जिस
yeah.
तरीके से जो पहली बात तो जो जज आपको मिले, I still call him Honorable Justice
Yes,
Waziri. That doesn't
he is honorable justice.
sort of come ऐसे normally. Justice Waziri also doesn't come out, and like you pointed out, and green pockets also established kare. He's called the green judge. No,
Yeah.
a very fantastic person. And Malika, I see hints of you. You sort of, whenever you talk about it, you seem to be like those were the days. जैसे कोई अपनी school के
Yes.
बारे में बात करता है.
Yes,
And
yes.
ever
That's the exact feeling.
okay, okay.
That's legit the exact feeling.
राइट. बट मलिका, तो मतलब एक बार ये सवाल पूछ लेता हूँ. राइट नाउ यू आर एट डेलॉयट एंड मे बी यू विल कंटिन्यू इन दिस पोजीशन, बट years down the line, let's say 5 years, 10 years down the line, do you ever want to be in that position? uh,
Sure. Why
okay.
not? Like, I think about it almost like, every day. Like, I have not negated disputes out of my life. I think
Right.
every lawyer, the charm of being a lawyer is that you can do everything.
True.
This career, like I said, is all pervasive. It's omnipresent. It's there everywhere.
Right.
So, like when
Right.
so it's law is something which you can always go back to.
Right.
And perhaps, I don't know, maybe my next 5 year plan is like, okay, let's go, let's argue, let's
Yeah.
master disputes now.
Yeah.
So, and I, very very, I always joke about this to my colleagues and my friends,
Right.
that just 10 years from now, when I have developed every skill set possibly I have to develop, I really, really want to go back to code and I want to fight for animal rights. I will fight for and I will create the impact which I have gotten. Perhaps and
Acha.
then I can, probably work on collecting that much resources. But few years down the line, sure, why not? I think every lawyer, you don't even have to be a lawyer to do that. Like
Okay.
our
You
legislation
have to be a
provides that
human to
every
do that. All
citizen, you
right.
just have to be a human to do that.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
at one point of time there is this, I see that opportunity, I will 100% go for it. And for
Right. Right.
every lawyer, I feel, just don't negate it completely out. A
Yeah.
court, a litigation is your foundation for
Right.
every lawyer. Whatever you become an expert, you become everything about it, like it goes after that foundation. You're
Right.
just on the first, second, third floor till your penthouse is made of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can always return back to the foundation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and like Oscar puts it, be yourself because everybody else is already taken. And I see
Yeah.
you being yourself. You are very different. I have never sort of heard these things also, and I will ask you a question about it also. But I have
Yeah.
not heard people come up to this show and say things like, ki, theek hai, do this also. It's okay. Do other things at the same time. And it is really amazing to see कि जिस passion से आप बात कर रहे हो इन सारी चीजों के बारे में. For a moment or two, even I get lost, and I shift myself from a interviewer's or a host's position to understanding what you're trying to say, even as a colleague, and think कि क्या ये क्या ऐसा process, if someone envisions life like this, would things change for them?
Yeah.
But Malika, let's get to the reality of things also. I like
Yeah.
all this positive energy
Yes.
that's coming my way, especially when you're talking about all these things. But एक ये situation है कि a lot of people, and it is a reality. In fact, a lot of aspirants have
Yeah.
asked this question time and again. A lot of aspirants cannot, afford this much time and availability, in the sense that वो choose नहीं कर पा रहे.
Yeah.
कि मुझे उनको चूज करना पड़ रहा है. They do not come from a background. Let's say someone who's studying in Jindal can pay 40-45 lakh rupees of fees for a
Yes.
5-year program, but not
Yes.
everybody
Yes.
has the privilege.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, in fact, struggle to make even the ends of their their family. They're working, in fact, for their family. They work so that they can feed their families every day. Do you think, firstly, now that you are in this position, do you think that there is one sort of a structure or a way कि इस process से probably तुम्हें क्या करना है life में, ये तुम जल्दी identify कर सकते हो, ये skill sets तुम जल्दी sort of cultivate कर सकते हो, and then you can probably excel in a certain way. And I'll ask you my second question based on the answer that you give, because it'll take us to a different part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Please, ma'am. Yeah.
So I think firstly, everyone who's trying, like I understand not everyone has that privilege to
Yeah.
take time to decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
So firstly, I would say research well. Currently, at least in my time, it was maybe I was not aware of it. I agree, or maybe I'm aware of it now
Yeah.
currently. But uh, opportunities, it's not like opportunities are not there.
Right.
You go on LinkedIn. Firstly, networking is something everyone needs to know how
Do.
to do it.
Okay.
I do it all the time. Like
Right.
if someone opens my LinkedIn right now, you will see I am speaking to a person who's working in blockchain, because I don't know how it works and I can't
Right.
work there. I'll probably, it's better to make a friend and then learn what
Right.
are they doing.
Right.
So okay, networking is something which is free,
Right.
available free of cost. Please
Yeah.
use it. Please
Yeah.
use LinkedIn as a platform for what it is meant to be used as.
Yeah.
Network properly.
Right.
There are so many jobs that I see. You can all, like, I'm not saying it's easily available, but I just say that demand for that is way more today. I'm seeing you can be a contract specialist. I have friends and colleagues who are actually remotely working all over the world through these opportunities. If you
Yeah.
haven't decided what you want to do, I'm just giving
Yeah.
you a quick. And in order to decide where your interest lies,
Right.
I really believe people now when they say it will come to you, but you have to start working in one direction.
Right.
Do anything which what is available.
Yeah.
Go in court. You will see so many seniors. Just perhaps if someone is not available, just help them out. Take their like take some help.
कोई भी help कर
Ask
दो.
them.
Yeah.
Do networking. So I think just starting point is important. Or
Right.
maybe, there are so many professors who are taking research assistants. And I know this is a way more foreign concept, but
Yeah.
now it's coming up in India. I
India
see
as
so
well.
many
True.
people, there are people who are beginning. I didn't know. See, I didn't know all this. I know this
Yeah.
all now.
Yeah.
I think earlier you asked me which year I graduated in.
Yeah.
So I graduated in 22.
Okay. Okay.
So, in now in 2, 3 years, I know, okay, these are the avenues which were open to me and I was stressing for no reason.
Right. Right.
So, firstly, find your skill set. You can find that by interning,
Right.
reading as much as you can.
Right.
Don't only concentrate on domestic laws,
Yeah.
go to the international aspect of it. There are
Okay.
so many, yes, do, because there are so many things which are existing, overseas, which is not there in India. And that could create a market for you if you think as an entrepreneur. So, firstly, do your research properly. Do your research. As in, law is a career. You can do anything with it. You can be a law researcher. Law researcher is not necessarily only needed for judiciary. There are ministries who are hiring law researchers. I know there's a young law professional um, scheme which goes
Yeah.
by the Competition Commission of
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
Appear on that. There are so
Yeah.
many. I think Niti Aayog were hiring lawyers.
Yeah. Yeah. Every
There, I'll
department
tell
for
you,
that.
there is an abundance of lawyers. However, there is also a dearth of lawyers
Right.
because the abundance of lawyers don't do their research properly. When
Properly.
I was trying to figure out what I want to do, how did I get to know about Big Four, which is actually they hire so many lawyers day in and out. No one knows about. At least I in my law school did not know about it.
Right.
I got to know about this through research. Okay, there are people working in KPMG. Okay, what are they doing? Data protection is something booming right now.
Right.
Where can I go? Where can I fit in? So,
Yeah.
firstly, someone to understand their see economic point of view से तो भाई जो मिल रहा है करो, then you have no way out of it
Yeah.
till the
Yeah.
time you get way out of it.
Yeah.
But if it's about understanding what you want to do, and I am giving you you know, a very realistic answer because this is something I have done.
Right.
I searched jobs available for lawyers. I saw, okay,
Right.
there's a contract scheme, which is contract specialist.
Right.
Ministries and judiciary is always on a roll
Right. Right.
hiring because then you can be a research assistant to a professor. Like I remember, I actually applied to be a research assistant for a professor in back in NUS.
Acha. National
Yes,
University of Singapore.
National University Singapore. So
Right.
that time I was like, okay, let me do international arbitration. So I was like, okay, let me get into, and I
Yeah.
think I was still in the as a law researcher back then, and I was looking for all these unconventional paths for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you can do a lot, but for that, you need to know a lot.
Right.
So,
Okay.
get your
Okay.
research in.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. I heard you, and I still see that sense of positivity, and it's very important in the sense ki you understand the kind of positions that you're applying to. Research seems to
Yeah.
be very core as a concept to you, and you
Yeah,
keep
I just
highlighting
feel
it.
it's
Whether
more,
yeah.
I'll tell you, research is mostly when you are, when you are in the 0 to 2 bracket of you graduating.
Right.
This is a trend I have seen. That's when you actually want to go into research because just after 3 year mark, you are no more you are expected to understand your field by then.
Right.
So if you are unsure about what you want to do, go into research. The
Right.
line will eventually come to you. There is,
Okay.
there is so much happening, and there is always, you can join in-house. Perhaps you get, but you have to get a job in-house, mostly
Yeah.
higher experienced
Right. Absolutely.
candidates.
Professionals. Yeah, because
So
you have to deal with a
you
lot
have to
of
deal with certain things. The
yeah.
stake they have is higher.
Higher.
So
Yeah. True.
training a fresher becomes difficult there. That I
Right.
understand now.
Yeah.
But while I was in the other shoes, I used to just feel like, what is this happening? Why are
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
no jobs?
Right. 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 Right.
And I think law students are generally just targeting tier ones. There is this obsession for tier one. They don't see there are 4, 5, 3 as well. Doing a long term internship will let you know if you want to be in that firm. I decided I will go to a law firm by
Right.
my final year.
Huh.
Before this enlightenment phase of a clerkship did not come, I decided I'll go to a law firm because I was interning at Khaitan, I was interning at Dua, I was interning
Yeah.
at PSA. I
Yeah.
thought of myself, okay, this is something I can do.
Yeah.
And the time for exploring was less because you're so much under constant
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there are other law firms as well. There are upcoming law firms. There are, well established offices of seniors that you can join
Right.
in. The
Right.
opportunities are endless.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think also it's with respect to identifying, to be fair on the students also, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो कोई see everybody gets into the law profession. Firstly, a lot of first gen lawyers also make their way into it, and it's not like they have a prior knowledge कि यहाँ पर क्या होगा क्या नहीं. There is
Yeah,
a sort of a placement structure in process. In fact, colleges have placement cells, and there is a huge fuss made about the kind of PPOs you are landing, the day
yeah,
zero, the day one process, the associate day, and all of that. And so people get into the groove of the idea ki bhai I have to be pleased, like you are saying, unless
yeah,
you went through that enlightenment phase, and that is why
yeah.
I've
So
sort of
my
been called.
college offered
Yeah.
no placements.
Okay.
We
Okay.
had zero placements because of
Right.
COVID,
Right.
and I was also in Amity IP.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my was probably the last batch or a group,
Oh, okay.
Amity group. So Guru
Okay.
Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. So we had
Yeah.
zero placements. If it
Right.
was happening, maybe I was not aware of it.
Right.
But there were zero.
Okay.
There was no drive. There was
Yeah.
no
Yeah. I know.
placement drive.
No.
And because of that, I think
Yeah.
everyone in my batch, like I see everyone doing so well. Not
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
me. If informally we do talk about the
Right.
other people you probably want to interview, they are all doing such conventional as well as
Well as
unconventional
unconventional
things.
things. Yeah.
And everyone is doing so well. It's
Yeah.
because a lot of people are just dependent that we have to be the best only for the placement date, and
Right.
they
Right.
don't
Right.
explore a lot in their
A lot
first
of
and second
options.
job
True. 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 True.
because they
True.
think, and it's really sad because they measure themselves through the PPO if they have received it or not,
Right.
and they don't try to venture out themselves.
Right. Right.
So
True.
this is because if you have a security jacket कि college तो placement दे ही देगा, you yourself just feel like उसके लिए prepare करते हैं और नहीं
Right.
देखते.
Right. Right. Right.
So yes,
No, it's true. And, even when, I sort of rejected, I never talk about it, but I rejected my first pre-placement offer. It was on the same idea that, the work area that I found, I obviously knew about it. That is, I got the pre-placement, but the idea was that, I really did not enjoy that area of work. It's not something I want to see myself doing in the 5 or 10 years.
very
But,
important
but
for one
very,
to
yeah,
enjoy work.
that's true.
It's Sunday today, and I'm legit thinking of Monday tomorrow that I want to
True.
go to office.
Right,
So
right.
I know it's little sounding little philosophical, यार ये क्या बोल रही है
Yeah.
ऐसे क्या, but it happens. It
Okay.
happens. Not all projects. I don't.
Yeah.
For them, I'm really excited about.
Right,
And this is,
right.
this is technically what you grow up as. Law is a very demanding profession, and we
Yeah.
lawyers are always, technically modeled that way throughout our 5 years. We have to keep on doing something relevant and important. And we
Yeah.
don't know it's okay to not be relevant for a minute. I mean,
Right.
don't be relevant for a year, it's fine.
Yeah.
No one is actually coming with a report card for you.
True.
So take it easy. I would say this to myself 3 years back. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, and in fact, काफी सारा advice है. There is a lot of sometimes you say things which are sort of to put it at the least, it's very intelligent in the sense that
Because
these
I
are
am intelligent.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
Just a joke. Just a joke. Yeah. Go
No, no,
ahead.
it's fair enough.
Yeah.
No, no, and all मतलब in all sincerity also, जिस तरह से आप चीजों को put up कर रहे हो उसी के around मेरा question होने वाला था. But the fact that even that you talked about network it's very important. I initially said about the network
Yeah.
thing, but it's also a reality. It's not just about what you know, but who you know, and
Yeah.
it does play out in your life very very beautifully. But these entire things, Malika, ये जो आप बोल रहे हो, I understand there is a sense of positivity. आपको पार्टनर अच्छा मिला, आपने firms, you were well versed, you researched everything out. But like you said, लोग तो बोलते ही होंगे. You're saying nobody is coming to you with a report card, but then there are people who are coming to you with a report card, not in the sense that they're going to be like, this is your report card, but in the idea that they're not always very positive people around everyone. And this is the harsh reality of life. कई बार आप जब कुछ unconventional करने जाते हो specifically, I'll tell you what I feel happens with most of the students, being one of them myself, is the idea that एक firm है, जो
Hmm.
मुझे 22 लाख रुपए की नौकरी ऑफर कर रही है ऑन माई लेट्स से, और 20 लाख रुपए की नौकरी ऑफर कर रही है। ऑन दी अदर हैंड समवन्स टेलिंग मी जस्ट आई शुड डू अ 30-40 के पर मंथ जॉब, एंड देन आई शुड गेट दैट एक्सपीरियंस। वो दिमाग में वो चीज ही नहीं आती, firstly, for people who are very in the sense that they are money oriented. There's nothing bad with being money oriented. It's very important to earn money also, बट आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स के साथ जनरली यही हो जाता है, एक लूप में कॉट अप हो जाते हैं। इफ यू इवन सी द न्यूज आर्टिकल्स वेरी केयरफully, दिस फर्म ऑफर्स 18
Yeah.
lakh PPO,
I
20
still see all of
students.
those.
Yeah,
I'm
so
guilty of seeing all of those,
yeah,
and yeah, even I go through it now.
yeah,
It happens.
it happens, and
It
it's
happens.
it's it's true. And क्यों नहीं,
Yeah.
मतलब as a student, when you're
Yeah.
seeing, let's say a friend of mine is getting place, he's earning 20 lakhs, I am earning 8 lakhs rupees, 7
Yeah.
lakh rupees.
Yeah.
That constant sense of comparison, firstly, अब मैं सवाल पे आता हूँ. First, that constant state of comparison can also come in someone else's mind, but that can also come in your own mind. इन द सेंस कि यार अगर आप बोलते हो ना कि मेरा कॉलीग एक्स वाई जी कर रहा है, लाइक इफ यू सी people 3 year 4 years down the line. I think I had Avdi on this show, and she I think she was a standing counsel to Vivek Agnihotri in this 370
Mhm.
film that sort of came out and all that through A&M Global. She has got a huge amount of exposure in media and entertainment law, but then she was saying someone who's doing corporate right now in my same years of experience might be earning 45-50 lakh रुपीज निशंक, एंड आई पर्सनली फील कि हो सकता है कि मुझे कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि यार शायद वो ज्यादा कमा रहे हैं, बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे व्हेन आई लुक एट द काइंड ऑफ वर्क दैट आई एम डूइंग, because I mean she was talking about pay structures, salary structures
Yeah.
and all that, and we got into that conversation. Does this comparison कभी कभी खुद से ऐसे माइंड में आ जाता है, कभी
Yeah.
सीप इन
Of,
करता है कि यार
of
ये क्या?
course. Of
Yeah,
course. I think at the end of the day, we are just humans, and the thing of being a human is that your desires are unlimited. So now that I got promoted, I'm like, okay, what's next?
true.
Yeah, the concept of having human desires is something, the answer is very, it's a non-law, it's a very logical answer. You think about logic. If you
Right,
want something, you would want something greater than that. There is no
right,
end to it. But
right.
I'll tell you this one exercise that everyone should do that
Okay,
I did. So when
okay.
I graduated, I realized one of my friends was leaving for an LLM in Cambridge,
अच्छा, okay.
and one of them other was leaving for an LLM. One of my best friends, like my core group, the other one left for an LLM in Edinburgh, and I was here alone.
Right,
And or other 3-4 people got their very very fancy law firm offers.
right.
And that point of time, the opportunity cost a lawyer, we actually lawyers, we calculate our opportunity cost. यार उसको
Yeah,
16 मिल गए तो मुझे 10 का जो गैप आ रहा है वो मुझे क्यों आ रहा है? हमने सेम जगह से लॉ करी, सब कुछ सेम करा.
right.
But I'll tell you, journeys for everyone is very different. You don't no one knows what is happening to that one person who's getting 16. Is that person getting time to spend their 16? And the person you are having at 6. So it's all about how you frame your mind. Because I'll tell everyone who does watch this show or has stuck out this till this long, do this one exercise. I couldn't do
Right,
it because I was a COVID batch. When you go and you sit in your class as a law
right,
student,
right.
just observe, just look at everyone around you and just
Yeah,
realize that you guys are together today, but your life is separate. You are
right,
separate individuals. And
right,
this is the last time you guys will be together as a law student, I would say. So when
right.
your friend does get a better offer and your other friend goes Cambridge,
Yeah,
all you can think of is that if they are rooting for the moon, you are also there in that space, right? You can
right.
also root higher.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
don't envy your friends or your colleagues, because I know it's there. It's there. It happens to me as well.
yeah.
But
Okay.
these people are your network. Not tomorrow, for example, if I start my own firm,
Yeah,
person sitting in a law firm will only give me their client. No. So if you are good friends with them, they'll give you a referral. Then no referral works that way till then. So think of it from just in a lighter note. Think of it from a perspective that everyone around you, if they are doing well, if 5 people around you are doing well, you will be the 6th person who's doing well. So
Okay.
think of it at this way: their time has come, yours will come. And
Okay.
probably, I think a lot of people like us, even myself, we just judge the person on the basis of, their success, and we don't see the hard work they have put in
Right.
order. At times it's luck, I
Right.
agree, but at
Right.
times it's also, even if the job is given by luck or
Yeah.
connection or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
hard work to karna hi padega na to sustain it.
Right. 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 Right.
So everyone is different. Don't
Right.
envy your friends, they are your network.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they can
Yeah.
only refer you in the same job,
Yeah.
provided you don't envy them and don't ruin your friendship. So, this is what I am a first generation lawyer myself. So
Right.
when I entered law school, I didn't know anyone. I
Yeah.
didn't know anyone who was connected, like no relative who could give me a job or something.
Are you a
But when
first
I
gen?
left, yes, I am a first
Okay.
gen.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but when I got out of that law school,
Yeah.
I realized, okay, I have so many connects. If my
Yeah.
friend's father is perhaps a partner,
Yeah.
then my that becomes my uncle also, no? If you're
Right.
good
Right.
friends with them. Think of
True.
it
True.
this way: you can't envy someone else's success of the hard work they're probably putting in that you are not aware of,
Right.
or the luck they have that you are not aware of. You can
Right.
only take responsibility of yours. So,
Right. Right.
measure yourself. I see myself ki, okay, last year I was able to pull this off,
This year I'm able to
and
pull
this year
that
I'm
off.
able to pull this off.
So.
So the person who is in competition should be yourself. And don't
Okay.
ruin your connections. I see a lot of people just ruin their connects. Their good friendship that would probably, give them so many opportunities. If you're
Yeah.
talking
In the
about
future.
career sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
leave emotional friendship, companionship out
Yeah.
of it.
Right. Right.
If you think of it logically, if you think like a true doing well, it's good for you. Think
Right.
of it this way: if you have to put it in the most materialistic sense, think if they are doing well, it's good for you. So I go with this logic now.
Right.
That time when I was perhaps in my final year, okay, I would have also thought, but over time, I have realized that okay, life is not same to everyone, and if
Right.
good is happening to someone, it will happen to me tomorrow.
Right. 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 No, absolutely. And I mean, you don't always have to be intelligent to be smart, but in your case, it works both the ways. Play on the intelligence joke that
Yes.
you
So the
made.
thing is,
But
I'll tell you, I have always valued my friendships. Like if you speak to anyone, the now they might be helping me professionally in some way, but the thing is, when I was back in school, my friends have stayed friends till me till now. This is how your networking starts the very day you are in school. How you talk to people. If you're a good person, they come to you. Even for clients, if you're good by them, they'll come back to you. So it's a
okay.
human trait. It's not
No,
logic. It's not
absolute,
smartness. It's just that you are
absolutely.
supposed to see the big in people
No,
and
no,
don't
true,
and
true, true,
ignore the small. So
true,
if
true.
you, I have been lucky this way. I have been very lucky with my friends because I was happy when success was coming their way and I was not envious. So
Right.
if I would have been envious, they would have been like, nowadays people are they want to be very zen and have no negative vibes. So if you have a negative vibe, trust me, they'll catch it. So it's
Okay.
best for you and for them to everyone should be in Zen. So if
Okay.
you're in your Zen mode, everything is gonna be good.
Acha, okay. Okay, I've learned a new term also
Zen.
about being in the Zen mode. No, but in this ये सारे process में, I
Hmm.
understand all the. See, the reason I do not even interrupt you while you're speaking is that you're speaking a lot from your heart, and it's
Yeah.
out there to anyone who's
Yeah.
seeing it, when anyone who'll see the interview. But एक reality इस बात की ये भी है कि obviously you want to sort of have that connects, and ये जो luck वाली चीज है, let's say
Hmm.
somebody got in because their father worked hard, but their father did work hard, right?
Yeah,
So
of course.
somewhere someone
Of course.
has worked hard, and to create that luck. And when one says that मेरे connection से हो गया, I put in that effort to make that connection, to make sure that that relationship was thriving in its best in
Technically,
whatever sense
their
that is.
parents are doing the same thing that we will do,
Exactly.
right? Their
Exactly.
parents already perhaps kept that connect
Right.
throughout their life that it
Right.
will help their children or themselves also. Like we don't know how it's working.
Right.
And the same way, like if tomorrow I have a younger sister, if she
Right.
tells me, I want to do law, she's not doing law, she has no plans of doing law. But if she does, so will I not help her out? Will I not teach her, okay, listen, people, be friends, be good friends with people, help them out. they will
Yeah.
help you then. So
Yeah.
being a good friend is not something that is a foreign concept. It's just
Yeah.
that while we are in that race of law school, wanting to get the zero placement day that you get PPOs and your friend should not, that should not happen. Like, I
Right.
know it's difficult, and one person will not understand this now. 3 years
Yeah.
down the line, one person will. Like I did.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
No,
yeah.
and I mean, it's very subjective to people also. आप
Yeah.
आपका माइंड इतना क्लियर है और आप इस
Hmm.
तरह से सोच पा रहे हो, इसलिए यू आर थिंकिंग लाइक दिस इवन आफ्टर 3 years. I have seen people spend their lifetime and their still have spite with a lot of
I think
people.
I now that I'm speaking to you today,
Yeah.
I have just realized maybe I'm quite blessed. मुझे सब
Yeah.
मुझे ठीक मिल रहा है. It's not like I haven't had my
Yeah.
share of
Yeah.
hardships in that same field.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
but it's life. Everyone has it. If I tell you I have had this, you say my shit is bigger.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it will be a never-ending concept
Right.
of
Right. Right. Right.
topic and discussion. So
Yeah.
I do like, if someone who has no connects and doesn't know anyone, well, value your friendships, learn from them. Like right now,
Right.
a friend of mine is doing blockchain,
Right.
and I met her, and I met her twice, thrice, and I know a lot more about it just because she was able
They
to
know about it.
explain and help me out for that.
True. 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 No,
That's
and that's true. That's true. And given that I have to sit on the other side of the coin,
yeah.
normally as the host, is the only reason I have to keep pointing out the other side also,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
balance it out. But honestly, the way you're speaking, I would also want to be on the your side of the coin in the sense that
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ideas that you're talking about, and even in forming enduring relationships and all that. But now you also said, and that was going to be my lead up question, and we'll also move towards closing this interview. This session has been,
Yeah.
I think this will go on to become the longest show I've ever hosted, apart from National Legal Summit. And I so far have really enjoyed the conversation, and I
Yeah.
didn't even think about the time until the fact that, the meeting in
Oh,
itself
yes.
shows to me ki,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been quite a while. But Malika, you did say that you're lucky. Firstly, I don't feel you're lucky the way you've spoken to me.
Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
I do not have any understanding of how you're dealing with your friends. That
Yes.
is me taking you on your word, but I
Yeah.
can speak on my own experience. जैसे भी आपने मुझसे बात करा है, in general, जैसे भी आपने conversation
Hmm.
करी है, there is a certain vibe that you emit, and it's
Yeah.
definitely not negative, right? It's definitely not also artificial, because
Yeah.
अगर कोई यहाँ पर बैठ के, I've been doing this for a while, काफी समय हो गया है, now that I'm making it available publicly, but 7-8 साल हो गए हैं मुझे ये करते हुए. And if somebody comes here and throws a lot of nonsense artificial book things to me, I
Yeah.
understand that they're just trying to say
Yeah.
positive things because this is going to go out in the public. But अगर आप believe करते हो तो वो आपकी आंखों में दिख जाता है. That is something I can
Yeah.
see. So that is credit to you, kudos to you, and I hope you keep on getting more and more success in whatever you are doing. But there are hardships, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are
Of
issues
course. Yeah.
and there are people. कभी
Hmm.
ऐसा हुआ है कि किसी से मिलके लगा है कि ये प्रोफेशन ही छोड़ देना चाहिए, या दैट पर्सन इज बीन लाइक, यार व्हाट आर यू डूइंग विथ योर लाइफ, this is not something you
Yeah.
should be doing on, because the
Yes.
point is, when you have an open mind, a lot of people want to put a lot of things
Yeah.
in it. Has it
Hmm.
happened to you? And what about it, like?
Yeah. I think even now,
Yeah.
like corporate investigation, something I'm doing, is not necessary. It's not a law
Right.
dominated thing.
Yeah.
Like I think law firms are now, they have, I think trilegal is doing really well. They have the
Yeah.
investigation
Yeah.
department, but another law firms are still getting
Yeah.
into this. It's
Yeah.
not like it has been dominated by lawyers. And
Right.
earlier at a place, I was at a law dominated place.
Right.
So coming from there, my mind had to, like, the approach of my mind had
Change
changed
thoda.
like 180 degrees.
Acha,
So
okay.
now that I come here, I am not at a dominated lawyer place. So
Right.
whenever there
बहुत
are,
सारा अलग अलग काम.
matlab, it's very different, and you have to prove your worth. Okay,
Okay.
how I am as a lawyer is contributing to this,
Yeah.
and a person who's a CA will probably feel the same,
Yeah.
and a person who's an MBA will probably feel the same.
Right.
But it does happen. You do question, matlab, I still question कि यार मतलब ठीक था वहाँ पे भी, मतलब I could have gone in a conventional zone,
Right.
I could
Right.
have gone to a law firm, probably stayed in disputes. All my internships were disputes. I
Right.
was at one point of time I was very, because of the complexity of disputes, And because of the surprise that every dispute gives you, that
Yeah.
really charged me up towards
Yeah.
disputes.
Yeah.
So yes, this does happen. This does
Right.
happen every day. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you need to remind yourself that, okay, how much have I learned? What is the
Right.
value add I am getting in life by doing this project or by
Right.
working with this work?
Right.
So if it's monotonous, then you know your growth has stopped. But
Right.
here, the place I am working at, Deloitte, every day is a new day. Every day
Yeah.
there is a new challenge. Project ends, another project starts. A project starts with the other project. It's like every day my skill set, at least the
Right.
beginning, because you just, I think everyone who's going to see this realize that I am also just 2 years ahead. I am
Right.
just 2 years ahead of a final year student. So I am also exploring myself a lot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
am also
absolutely.
exploring the field I am in. Maybe 2 years from now, you call me for another session. I might be doing something entirely different.
Yeah.
Highly possible. So,
Okay.
I don't label myself. Like when people say law,
Acha.
lawyers, I don't label myself as a lawyer. I want to do
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
You know, because of this reason, I joined a big firm. That I want to do more than what is expected out of me. Like a corporate जा रहे in house या contracts करेंगे थोड़ा negotiation करेंगे. Not that I don't know all that. Not that it's small in any way. It's just that I wanted to do more and not go as a label as a career.
Right.
At least now in my building years. No, who
Right.
knows? 5 years now I shift back. No one knows. But
Okay.
it's like you
Okay.
have to measure what you are gaining out of it. If you
Yeah.
are gaining craft, if you are gaining a good amount of, let's say your package is high, or let's say you are gaining a craft that you cannot get anywhere else, there is no reason to doubt why you are here. If you
Right.
are, gaining either one of two,
Right. 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 Right.
that's the thing.
Okay, no, and it's very important to have that kind of self-belief also.
Yeah,
So I hope whatever you're planning out works out. But दो तीन सवाल और and then we'll move
yeah,
towards closing this interview. एक बहुत important बात है कि people say jack of all trades but master of none. Do you
fast.
ever feel कि नहीं करनी चाहिए? There is like you hear phrases like
Mhm.
XYZ person is the god of arbitration.
Yeah,
XYZ person is is unmatched when it comes to
yeah, yeah.
XY field area, right?
Mhm.
Do you think people who start specializing early on have this advantage, huge advantage compared to people who have been doing a lot of things in their initial years and then maybe not
Yeah.
sort of shift like because you're saying कि आप shift कर सकते हो 2 साल बाद
मतलब
4 साल
यार,
बाद आप yeah
anywhere, like perhaps what I meant shifting was
yeah
not in changing fields or careers altogether. I'm just saying that shifting, I'll answer your question,
yeah
but just like shifting means in a general sense of the next best opportunity of
okay
growth, maybe
okay
somewhere
okay
else, not in growth perspective, not in
okay
a career domain perspective.
right
But yes, if the jack of all trades, master of none, but the point is, if you don't know what you want to specialize in, that
right
I felt it, I didn't know for the longest time,
yeah
and I'm
yeah
sure a lot of people till now don't know in their
right
final years. Then
right
the only logical approach is that you do everything you want to do and then you stick a specialization.
right
Like I'll tell you something, data protection has just come up in India now.
yeah
20 years from now, 30 years from now, one person can specialize in it. But
right
भाई जो आने से पहले तो कुछ और ही कर रहे थे ना. So
right right
in
right
your beginning budding years, I feel
yeah
like till the time of your 0 to 5 years
yeah
is the timeline where you can explore what you want to do. And without
right
exploring, how will you know what you want to do? There are some
absolutely
there are some people, who do, explore this because of the certain guidance given to them in
right
their budding phase of, in a law
right
school. But for someone like me who had no guidance, the only
yeah
thing I can choose my specialization is by doing different stuff.
right
So for
right
anyone who does not know what to do currently,
right
probably just pick a start and
right
just pave your way out of it. You will
okay
know what you
okay
want to do.
okay 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 yes thank you so much and one quick last question to you would be and
Hmm.
this would be more of a serious question we have
Yeah.
talked a lot about LinkedIn we have talked about making connections we've talked about
Yeah.
working at different sort of tier firms
Hmm.
we've even talked about working for the big four but there it's a reality a lot of people come up and share their experience of एक होता है ना स्टेज की जब आपको लगता रहता है ये XYZ firm जन्नत है, and then you go and that hell breaks down on you. There is someone I won't name for the obviously, I mean, it's private, and the part we had to edit it out completely because they didn't want to talk about it, but they spoke to me in person, because this entire stage is about that. It's about sharing what you're feeling, and it's their 6 or 7 day at a good firm. And I'm not going to name the firm, I'm not going to name the person, but it's their sixth and seventh day. They are a A0, and they go to a senior who obviously sees a couple of mistakes in what they've done. Today, they are at a very, by the way, well accomplished position. It's been 20, 30 years down the profession that they are, and they are one of the most top law professionals one can think and name of in the country, if I have to put it very humbly, because you can even think of them in a global level. A file gets thrown to their face. This is the sixth or seventh day of the work, right? And they do not know how to take this. They come from a background wherein they have sort of never experienced this. No one wants to experience this also, but this is just the first week of work. Obviously you are learning, and something like this happens. Firstly, you also do not have to name it, you do not have to talk about it. But if there is any experience that you're comfortable sharing, you don't have to exactly talk about the firm or none of that. But have you seen in your surroundings XYZ that something has happened? And how do you, in that case, to a
Yeah.
person, and this question, this is in fact, this is not something that I am asking. A very a friend of mine, sort of an associate, is an associate at a XYZ firm, and had to go through something similar to this. How do you take it? Do you leave that XYZ opportunity? I'm just talking as to how you would take it as a person. And you leave that XYZ opportunity. Do you think about, that this is probably part of the process? Or do you think that maybe, this entire thing was a bad idea? How do you personally take it? Firstly, I hope it never happens to you.
Yes.
I mean, I want to put it out there. You're doing wonderful in your life, and I want you to just grow out of the way, and so that my connection also with you also sort of helps me in future whenever I want to set up, I want to sort of have
Yeah.
law clients or XYZ, whatever. But in all seriousness, how do you deal with this? What is your suggestion, and what is
So,
your advice to people like
yes. So, something like, something, firstly, whatever you have told me, it's a huge thing. It's a big
you?
deal.
Yeah, yeah,
And, there, if you put it out in public, a lot of people would say, we have been through the same thing. It's a part of the learning
yeah,
process.
yeah,
And they would completely negate this
yeah,
of you, in a way, gaslight you that it's not a
yeah,
big deal. We
yeah,
have also been through it.
yeah,
But let me tell you, if something of the sort ever happened with me,
yeah,
happened to me,
yeah,
considering that it was only person's first week
yeah,
at that law firm, I would say that in very early in life, some people know everyone needs to learn how to stand up for themselves.
yeah,
At you know, someone who's perhaps having anger issues,
yeah,
as I would like to call this act. There is no
yeah,
other way to
yeah,
describe this act.
yeah,
A person has to stand up for themselves and let the other person know. Firstly, let them know that this isn't right.
right,
Let them know as politely, as respectfully. Like, I know it's not possible at that point of time, but as lawyers, we are supposed to show this is how it has been.
how
Like, your
you're supposed
seniors
to
are
show
your
character, you're
senior.
supposed to show temperament. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So, as a lawyer, please, use the skill of a lawyer, tame down your words, no matter how much you're feeling bad inside, but let the other person know this is not right, this is not correct.
Yeah,
If their reaction is still the same towards you,
yeah,
then perhaps you will have to leave because this is not normal.
yeah,
This hasn't, this is a big deal. It's not normal. It doesn't happen to everyone. Maybe some of them, but even if something remotely close to this happens with me, my first reaction would be to let the other person know I am not comfortable with this tone. I am not comfortable with this. If I have to learn, I'll put my night. I'll put my whole weekend, I'll put my night, I'll put my entire day and learn this and correct it. But in order for let me know that I have done a mistake, one has to stand up for themselves. No one else is coming to protect them. So
right,
I think a lot of freshers generally they do fear consequences, but you will not go anywhere in life with this kind of behavior because this will become a habit. This has happened to someone I
Right.
know,
Right.
and the person did not stand up for himself in the
Right.
beginning,
Right.
and this did had to go him. It did
Yeah.
backfire on him for a long period of time till the time he was forced to leave that place.
Right.
So before that day comes, politely standing up for yourself is something I don't think anyone would mind.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you say, or how do you react to someone who's saying you're being completely impractical and XYZ, you've not had the experience of a law firm? I mean, I'm not asking this question to you as a
Yeah.
general, but to anyone who stands up for themselves. This is the first sort of an argument that you've not been through the process of a XYZ firm, and this is how it works in the actual domain. So you've got to take it and then probably dish it out and then get back to work. What do you respond to that? How do you respond to
If the person who has been thrown the file at says this to him that you've been practical, is this the question?
Yeah,
Or is
if
this
the
the
person
comfort
says
that
it,
other
or is
associates
the
are
let's
doing?
say he comes to me as a friend, I'm working at a ex law firm, and I say it happened to me as well. What's the big deal? Get on
This
with
is
it.
what I'm saying. A lot of people will negate your feelings, will say that this happens to everyone. But if there is a certain tone, it's not necessarily has to be a physical step that
Right,
file is thrown at you for you to speak up for
right,
themselves.
right,
Like,
right, right.
it could be way worse than that.
Yeah,
There is no stopping point if you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
put a full stop.
right,
So speaking up for yourself in a polite way, for anything for that matter, doesn't have to be such a grave incident. It could be something as general as a tone of a person that you do not admire. So I think speaking up is necessary in order to bring a change.
right.
If you don't bring a change, there is no, it's going to be as easy as I also faced this in my first year. You are supposed to speak for yourself,
Yeah,
set your standards high. Just because
yeah,
someone is hiring you doesn't mean they own you.
right, right.
So get your standards, get the basic standards कि ठीक है, this type of harsh words I can take it, this is my list, इसकी नीचे कुछ भी जाएगा तो I am not.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect,
Yes.
perfect, perfect. And no, not to pass any sort of a judgment. हर आदमी की अपनी वो standards होती हैं और
Yes.
होनी भी चाहिए. But ठीक है, as long as you XYZ person feels that मेरा self respect नहीं harm हो रहा, and I'm
Yeah.
okay or I'm comfortable with this,
Yeah.
then let them be comfortable with that. If you want to stand up for yourself, like Malika says, do it very politely, humbly, but at least make
At
your
first, if the person is, see, at first do it politely and humbly. If the person is then not listening to you, then you have to resort to
okay,
other
okay.
means of
Let's
making this stop.
okay, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we get what you're saying. But yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, I think it's sort of like Malika. You would also agree. It's sort of always the good way to put out things
Yes.
in a certain way. Gracefully करने में
Yes.
कोई वो नहीं है. In fact, that sort of sets your sort of a class or much better than a
Yes.
person who's just throwing out
Hmm.
file at your
Correct.
face. So
Correct.
that shows how you handle yourself, what sort of
Hmm.
character you are, and what sort of character do you hold and you bring up. So
Yeah.
that sort of matters a lot. This is officially the longest episode of Open Floor with Nishank. So congratulations, Malika, for being a guest on this.
Yeah.
Firstly, thanks a lot for gracing us with your brilliance and charm. Your insights are like that courtroom objection. They're sharper than that, and it's obviously refreshing, like a coffee break in a library, especially on
Yeah.
a Sunday morning. So thank you so much for coming on this show, for sharing everything that you have. I hope you keep on excelling. जो भी कर रहे हो तोड़ते फोड़ते रहो is the word that we use. But yeah, we'll take a few words from you as a closing statement, as a message to aspirants, and a comment on the show as well. Because whenever you say good things, and I say it on every show, we cut that out and we put it in the front of the
In the
episode.
front.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, yeah,
That's the way it should be. True
yeah,
marketing. Yes.
yeah. But not that I've ever done it, but still, yeah, yeah. Just any final message for anyone who's aspiring
I
to be a
think,
lawyer, and the final
yes.
comments on the show.
Yes. A final message to everyone would be that, you know, I have 2 years of experience. I must be sounding, oh, I have figured a lot of stuff out. But trust me, I'm on the same boat. I am also figuring out the way, and everyone else is also figuring out. No matter how sorted they look, let me assure you, everyone is trying to figure out their way. And it's okay. Firstly, it's okay to not know. As law students, we're supposed to, know a lot of stuff that is expected out. I remember at my phase in law school, everyone's were writing such high level articles, and at one point of time, I couldn't understand what it's written till the time I started writing them. So, if you don't know something, if you want to bridge the gap, first have a reality check where you are. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
Um, and for all the law aspirants who are trying to find a job or trying to find a line, I would say research and just take the first good opportunity. You will not even know, and the road will be created for you that way. So probably if you don't have anything else, don't say no to offers just by thinking this is below me. Nothing is below you. Starting 5 years, you're supposed to develop certain skills that you can demand the job you want after 5 years. So correct,
Mm.
starting 5 years, provided that of course, looking at your status and current life,
True.
what you want, what you are going through, no one else knows. Perhaps don't say, I have seen a lot of people saying no to their offers and regretting it later. Take the first step and you will pave the way from there. And for the show, Nishank, I think you're doing a great job. I probably didn't like, I would have had something like this back 3 years back when I was in law school. It would have helped me, probably know a lot more than I knew, and I had to figure it out. So I think you're doing a great job. You are creating an impact for all the law students out there. And for anyone who has certain questions or who wants to, please message me on my LinkedIn. I
Absolutely.
will connect back. I will talk. I will like to guide, help as long
Absolutely.
as long as
Absolutely.
I can.
Right,
So
right,
yes,
right. And as Malika put it out, please do it politely. When you're approaching her, please not any sort of random comments,
please don't
especially if
send
you
me
are a
your
viewer.
CVs.
Yeah.
Please don't send me your CVs without I asking for it.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
that's also there.
please.
And
Yeah,
absolutely anyone who's approaching on LinkedIn, bhai, if you're using this show's name, and a lot of people have been doing that to our guests. Sir, I watched you on that XYZ show. And then I have not referred anyone firstly, and this is I'm saying it out publicly. I don't refer people to any guests. So please don't do that. Secondly, please reach out to them very politely. I'm sure most of the guests will respond to you, would love to guide you.
yeah.
And why not? If they were not interested in all of this, they would not be here on the show, right? So
Yes.
that sort of makes the concluding point of the show. And Malika, I just wanted to say that the entire point of having this conversation with you is that you do not just understand the process, you make it look effortlessly cool. With
Yeah.
this entire interview, I had this feeling कि कुछ ना कुछ life में हो जाएगा. And
Yeah.
this feeling, giving this feeling to any sort of a law aspirant is sort of
Yeah.
very, very important. But
Yeah.
that is it. We're moving towards the end of season 2. We have a couple of episodes more lined up for you. But today we were with our very, very special guest, Malika Basin. Thank you so much for joining us, Malika. We'll close the show on that point. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.